I'm Chimo Mangazi with Business Time on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. In the program today, Consumers Association of Malawi asks President Chakwera to form a lean cabinet. Also in the program, Cyclone Anna hits Malawi. We look at its impact on business. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. President Lazarus Chakwera on Monday dissolved his 31-member cabinet and announced that a new cabinet will be announced within 48 hours. The Consumers Association of Malawi, KAMA, believes this is a chance for Chakwera to trim his cabinet in line with Malawi's economy. Our reporter Justin Kweo engaged KAMA Executive Director John Capito.
But we were just looking at the current economic situation, that I think Malawi needs to realign itself to suit in the current economic challenges it is faced with. And one of the things that we were saying, all Malawians are saying, background is very we know. And we were saying the same again should apply to the top leadership,
yes,
where they can reshuffle, but not only reshuffling, but also trimming the cabinet. And it was just a coincidence again yesterday that when we had released again another press release, is when we were in the evening, the president came out. In fact, we had also sent a copy to his office for the same, to Mr. Kamponden.
yes.
And it was, to us, it was a blessing that the president now has decided, after hearing from so many commentators, so many activists, including the church, demanding for the reshuffle. But we are saying, yes, reshuffle, but also trim the cabinet. But we also went further to say reduce the number of presidential advisors, yes, that he has. Yes. Now, from what we heard yesterday, where the president now has said, yes, I'm ready. I am now dissolving my cabinet. It has given us that sense of relief that at least the president is listening. Whether it has been out of pressure or not, but he has listened. There are some presidents that when they are arrogant and they want to stick to their arrogancy, they don't yield down. So we saw this president coming out, and I think in humiliation, he said, I'm going to dissolve my cabinet, which he has. What do we expect?
Yes.
Malawi is now going through a lot of challenges, economically and socially. We need to address them. And I believe that Malawi has got the number of people, the qualified people rather, that can help him achieve his goal. I'm sure the goal of the president is to see Malawi growing, is to see Malawians prospering. And I'm sure he can now sit down very well and come up with a cabinet that can take him to that dreamland. And the choice is his. If he picks people just because they are his fellow politicians from the same party, or they are from the same church, or the same tribe, or from the same village, that is his choice. But we are saying that right now, the wisdom that he should use is even to get people that are outside his own comfort zone. But the people that can bring in ideas to help him grow the country. Malawians are complaining today, and he needs to understand that the issues that are affecting Malawians must be dealt with a cabinet that is able to understand and move with the people. And that I hope the president is aware of. And it will be quite a sad development if the president comes up again with a mediocre team like the ones he had. A team that was not helping him, move the goals of his agenda, the high five that he has. It is a good agenda if you listen to it. And that all it needs is drivers, people that can move him, that can move his vehicle. I met him once And he also complained about his current, members of the cabinet. We talked quite about a number of the weaknesses within his current cabinet team. And I'm sure he has learned that having a good team amongst you who can give him that comfort, not giving him blood pressure. He needs people that can simply argue with him, but argue and or disagree in order to move things forward.
Vice President Salos Chirima has hit at local commercial banks to focus their business on the private sector for them to contribute significantly to economic growth. Chirima lamented continued challenges in accessing finance among businesses. He said this recently in Lilongwe, and Justin Kweo reports.
The Vice President said commercial banks have centered on trading in treasury bills and foreign exchange. He added that this results in huge profits for them but little development for the country.
I already have a feel of the profitability in the just ended financial year of the banks. And the profits are also astronomical. And we are not saying people shouldn't make profits. Unfortunately here, when banks say they want it is going to interfere or interfere with the core business, most of them are not lending, they're in treasury business. It is forex and the treasury bills. That's what banks do here. And I know you are represented, and I'm not contradicting anyone. This is a fact. So we need the banks to start lending business, not just treasury and forex. That's not what banks are there to do. So as we ask government to, continue creating an environment that is enabling, we should remove the procurement bottlenecks, we should do A, B, C, D, we also expect other players in the market to do their part. Bank's core business is lending. It is not treasury bills. As a matter of fact, banks should be customer-centric and not profit and bonus-centric.
During the 2021 Economics Association of Malawi annual conference, Chirima also said shallowness of financial markets and limited financial mobilization stand in the way of industrial development. He said lending rates are still high for investments. He added that commercial banks are making supernormal profits from short-term government securities while shying away from long-term investments in the real sector, including industrial development. Even then, he added, whenever the monetary authorities adjust the policy rate, banks will respond by lowering the deposit rate more than the lending rate. A business environment assessment for 2021 by the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, MCCCI, shows that lack of access to finance was among top challenges facing the private sector. The report indicates that the problem was not only for the last year, but even in the past, where financial institutions have not been able to fund ideas for business startups or businesses for recapitalization. In an earlier interview, Bankers Association of Malawi, BAM President Macpherson Kawawa, said banks are also concerned with the trend, but it is not of their own making. He added that lending to government is as a result of its appetite for borrowing. Therefore, if it reduces its appetite, money will be channeled towards other sectors.
Banks need to innovate. I think we need to keep innovating for us to really make an impact. That's number one. That is actually, in a way, even forced upon us, because we are now in an environment where we are facing customers that are more enlightened, they are more demanding, they know what they want, and so on. Secondly, I mentioned that as banks, we need to restructure our own balance sheets. This is connected to the need to be able to fund long-term projects. We can only do that if we match that with long-term funding side of things, which this far has been eluding the banks, and we need to make deliberate effort to actually improve in that respect. I also mentioned about collaboration. In collaboration, there's strength. We can't go it alone. As banks, yes, we can compete at times, but we must also realize that we can collaborate and together make impactful investments for the betterment of our economy. Finally, I talked about corporate social investments. I did mention that we need to be focusing more on corporate social investments that have got a major impact, not just for publicity, which at times we are tempted to focus on. We need to go for impactful corporate social investments, and we can go it alone as individual banks, or indeed we can go it as an industry, so long as we believe it has a major impact on our society.
BAM Chief Executive Officer Linus Nkungula reiterated Kawawa's sentiments, saying banks lend to all clients and would continue to do so. She said since the banking system is evolving every day, diversity of products is a necessary tool for them to be relevant both on domestic and international markets. Market analyst Cosmas Chigwe said trading in treasury bills rather than businesses has more to do with security of the funds rather than profit making. He added that there is more risk in individuals and businesses than in the government, and that is why banks lend more to government, because in terms of profit making, it is more profitable to lend to businesses than government.
This is Business Time on Times. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Malawi is set to benefit from a new growth gateway tool aimed at strengthening Britain and Africa business relationships following a record £2.3 billion support from the UK Export Finance. This came out during the UK Africa Investment Conference held recently with a focus on sustainable investment to support the continent's transition to clean growth. I caught up with Malawi Investment and Trade Center Public Relations Manager Delibe Chimbalo.
The UK hosted the second edition of the Africa Investment Forum. The inaugural one was done in 2020. So this was the second edition whereby UK is trying to extend its efforts in helping Africa in terms of providing support in terms of investment and trade. So the second edition, as I've rightly put it, it was held on 20th of January 2022, and it attracted participation of a number of African countries, including Malawi. The conference provided a platform for African countries to understand how they can work together with the UK government in terms of enhancing trade and investment between Africa and the UK. So in terms of the key takeaways that Malawi can learn or benefit from this investment forum, there is what they're calling the deal room, which is an exciting feature that we saw it as, especially us as MIDC, as a good platform that Malawian businesses or project promoters can utilize to try and find maybe financing from the UK government. So there were a number of sessions that were done on that day, mostly focusing on how the two countries or the two bloc regions can work together in terms of moving forward issues of trade as well as investment.
What should we expect from this as Malawi, specific targets to Malawi, specific investments coming to Malawi?
Well, in terms of the specifics, as I rightly said, what the forum has highlighted mostly is for African countries to utilize this platform, which is being supported by the UK Department of International Trade. They're calling it Africa Network Platform, or in short, they're calling the investment deal room. So what is happening is they are calling for proposals or project proposals for those that have projects that are requiring financing to submit their proposals for possible maybe financing, provided that they meet the requirements that these people are looking forward to. So for Malawi and for us as MIDC, what we are encouraging the business community is to take advantage of this platform and try to submit their project proposals for possible financing. As you might be aware, one of the key issues that we have really found out as a challenge for Malawian projects or businesses the lack of finance for them to kickstart the various projects that they intend to do. We have a number of project investment opportunities as a country, but we are failing to implement them because of largely lack of financing to kickstart the projects. So this is a great opportunity for us as a country to take advantage of this digital platform, whereby what you need is just to submit your project proposal based on the requirements that I have said for possible financing that they might be able to fund and work together with you in the implementation of this project. So we are encouraging, as MIDC, we're encouraging all the project promoters that they think they have bankable investment projects to utilize this platform and submit their project proposals for them to have a chance to access the financing that the UK government is putting forward to African countries in terms of investment and trade.
Lack of trained personnel in project management in both the public and private sectors has seen a lot of projects being aborted and losing billions of kwacha in the process. This is according to experts in the field. It came out during a training for project managers organized by Sycamore Consult, currently underway in Blantyre. More in this report.
One of the facilitators at the training, Godwin Ngoma, emphasized the need for the government and players in the private sector to employ trained professionals in the sector.
I can say that we are fairly doing well, but we need to do even much better. Currently, you can see that a lot of projects that are being undertaken, especially on the corporate side or government side, are not being completed in the right time or with the right quality. So we are fairly well because we know what a project is and we're able to engage into projects. But it's the execution and being able to do things right which is missing us. So that's the biggest problem that Malawi has in terms of project. We do not have respect for project. That's what I can put it. We don't have respect for projects. We'll start a thing which we actually know will not complete, or we'll start a thing and abuse it. But that's not the principle of projects. Projects are supposed to have a start date and an end date, and they're supposed to be followed. Follow all the charter, follow all the scope, and finish in the right way with the right quality of things shown.
Audrey Mala is founder of Sycamore Consult Limited and retired project manager.
Management training was organized because we have had a lot of requests from clients that want to know more how they can handle their projects better. So from that perspective, we have incorporated in our trainings, and we've been doing this training and helping people to be able to manage how to implement their projects better. As you appreciate that there are a lot of projects that get started and they are never finished. There are some projects that get started and they keep on going and run over the time that would have been finished, but also they run over the costs. Some projects are delivered in a manner that is not consistent with the original expectations in terms of quality and in terms of quantity. So all this is as a result of lack of project management. And we, as businesses, as organizations, as a country, things that are critical for development of a business or a corporate, they start with a project. So if you don't manage that project well, then progress of a business or the progress of a company or an organization will not take place. That's why we need to look at projects as an important area of training and equipping people with the right skills for project management.
The experts expressed that up to 80% of people entrusted to run projects do not have the necessary expertise.
Since Monday this week, Malawi is facing tropical cyclone Anna, which has devastated sectors such as agriculture, education, and transport. The cyclone has also affected the flow of trade as most people opted to stay in their homes. Justin Kweu went up and about the streets of Blantyre and now reports.
Limbe is always a busy place where people trade in almost everything in micro, small and medium enterprises. This was not the case on Tuesday, as the township was a little empty with people hiding in shop verandas. Business people agreed with my observation that heavy rains have slowed business activities. Here are some of them.
Things are not working because people are not coming out of their houses. Therefore, it is the same as the time when there were COVID restrictions.
People are staying indoors, which makes it difficult for us to sell our products, and we just hope that the heavy rains will come to an end soon.
The heavy rains have affected us because we stand on the roads, a thing which we can no longer do.
January is already a difficult month because people do not have money. Now with the rains, we have really suffered.
The heavy rains have not affected such businesses alone, as rains which have caused floods in the country have forced the electricity generation company Egenco to shut down all its power plants, causing blackouts in almost all parts of the country. Egenco spokesperson Moses Gwaza was uncertain as to when the machines may resume generating electricity. He said he could not predict how long it would take because as long as there are floods, they will have problems in generating electricity. He added that another challenge is that the floods are bringing debris, but expressed hope it will not take time. A statement from the Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, ESCOM, says the electricity suppliers engineers are on site to restore power into the national grid. Meanwhile, the electricity, which is a big component of production, has placed other businesses on a standstill. For example, companies such as Blantyre Water Board, Airtel Malawi and National Bank of Malawi have announced that their services have been interrupted due to the blackouts. Meanwhile, the weather is expected to return to normalcy as Tropical Cyclone Anna is said to have passed Malawi.
Well, with that item, we've also come to the end of today's edition of Business Time here on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Chimwemwe Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.